Alright, so for my warm-up, I like to, first things first, I like to turn my sound down. It's a little bit loud with the bots.
Right here.
First thing I like to do when I warm up is I would go medium bots, bot armor on, and I warm up with my gun of choice for the day. And usually it's the Phantom, but sometimes when I'm practicing, I'll use the Vandal. And I usually practice with the Ghost as well. So I'll show you that in a second. But first thing I start off is, and I will, okay, so I start off not moving at all. Just going for, you know, just a normal warm up. Just make sure that my mouse feels good, my sensitivity feels good, my grip, my sitting position, everything like that. You wanna keep consistency in everything you do, especially when you're playing games like this. You don't want your like arm position to be inconsistent every day. You don't want to be sitting in different positions whenever you play. You always want consistency. And for medium bots, they're very slow, so you can take your time on this. And I usually just do one without moving, and then the next one I will do with counter strafing. And if you don't know how to counter strafe, I should actually probably make a video about that. But you can see on screen the keyboard. You could get an idea of how to counter strafe that way, but I'll make a video in the future on how to develop your counter strafing and how to improve on that. So for this round of medium bots, I just spend a little bit trying to get my counter strafes down, moving around, shooting while counter strafing, etc. And then I'll do 2 of these. Usually with the bots, you just want to really take your time and just get used to it. You don't have to go for 30 shots, a perfect score every time. You just want to really feel out your movement, understand how you're moving, and understand like when to shoot, when you're strafing, and stuff like that. Try to get the feel of it instead of getting it down perfectly. You want to feel it out. I think that's one of the best ways to learn, especially in games, is you can get the feel of things pretty easily, and then you don't even have to like realize what you're pressing. Like the button presses, I don't even think about like when I'm pressing AD, etc, etc. And now I'm going to do a run with the Ghost. And with the Ghost, I'm actually going to turn the bot armor off because I don't have enough time to double headshot. And the reason I warm up with the Ghost is because on pistol rounds with Sova, the Ghost is my main choice. And if you are a Classic user on pistol rounds, you're very welcome to warm up with Classic in here as well. I highly recommend warming up your pistol round weapon every single day, because the more you warm up your pistol round weapon, the better you are at pistol round. And pistol round is one of the most important rounds in the game. And you like, so think of it like this. If you win pistol round, you get a free round after that. And if you win both pistol rounds, you get 4 free rounds. Is that right, Chronic? I'm using a G Pro wireless right now. Do you have a G Pro wireless? Relatively new to Valorant and aim training, how do you warm up with Kovacs or just jump into Valorant? You know, that's funny, Rect. Right now I'm actually doing, well, I'm recording, I guess, footage for a warm-up video of how I warm up. So stay tuned and you'll learn something. 400.5 is goated. It's close to me. Okay, so definitely you want to warm up with your pistol round weapon. And like I said earlier, you don't have to counter strafe on the bots because I have a counter strafing warm up that I do outside of the bots. So I'll show you that in a second after this. Alright, so here is my counter strafing warm up. And I think this is one of the most important things to warm up. And it's one of the most important things you should do in this game. And the most important thing to learn in this game is counter strafing. Did that bot just freeze? Okay. So you're going to position yourself around here. It doesn't really matter which side, but you want to practice your counter strafing on these faraway targets. And you can do single bursts, you can do single taps like this, or you can do 2 taps like this. And you really just want to work on getting the feel of counter strafing and just tapping your shots. I like to do, so there's a few little patterns I like to do. One is the 3 tap, which is that. You just go left, right, left, and then you tap at the apex of each thing. And then there is the stutter step, which is you just kind of get used to stutter stepping sideways. Then there is the little burst, stutter steps and stuff like that. And then there's just the like normal peak counter strafe that I like to do, which is, it's usually a burst. And that's where you want to practice hugging your crosshair to the wall, and it probably works better on like this pole here. So you just like practice jiggle peeking and counter strafing at the same time, so that you can get a feel of how you're actually going to peek in a real scenario. And since ranked isn't out yet in Valorant, I think that most people should be spending most of their time improving on one thing at a time, if you're really trying to become good at this game. And what I mean by that is, so one day you should spend most of your day practicing and getting really, really good at counter strafing. And then another day, you can get really, really good at fully spraying. So like one day you can spend most of your time tapping, and then another day you can spend most of your day just trying to go into a full spray every single time. And that'll help you get an understanding and a feel for the game. And I say feel a lot because I feel like, well, a lot of learning games and improving at games is understanding the internal mechanics of the game and knowing how to abuse them and make them best serve you, you know? And the way I do that is by getting a feel for it. Like, a lot of the times when you're playing and you're in game, you don't have time to think, right? And that's where the feeling comes in. Where like, if there's a guy right here, I'm not going to be thinking about like what I have to do to kill him. I'm just going to peek and kill him. And that's where the feeling comes in. Once you understand the feeling of your weapons and the feeling of your movement, it becomes a lot easier. So I would, also, I highly recommend warming up your counter strafing with your pistols as well. so you can get the timings down with that. Is the best way to practice spray? I think the best way to practice your spray would be to do eliminate 50, armor on, and then strafe. So to do this, you start by just flick spraying, right? And you can do it. You can do movement as well. So you would just go counter strafe into flick spray. Because 90% of the time when you go into a spray, you're gonna have to counter strafe to get the first few shots accurate. Or you can do something like this. You can start tapping and then just go into a spray. But always know when to reset your spray. After you've lost control of it, you need to reset it. And that's applicable in-game and in the practice range. Like right there, I lost control of it. And then the Phantom is much easier. All right. Also, one thing that you guys should practice and understand is... What the hell? Didn't I just turn straight? Oh, I'm dumb. Okay, so let me get a bot in the center here. Okay, so here. Now, you need to know how high your spray goes. So, and what I mean by this is when you're spraying, how low do you need to aim to get your spray to be head level, right? And you should really, really, really learn this. It's a very important thing to learn. So you need to, like, because sometimes I see people and when they spray, they go like this. And they're aiming at the feet, right? But the feet, it's not a good way to aim. Because look, if you look at this, the spray levels out at head level right around the knees and the pelvis area. So if you aim here, right around the knees and the pelvis, that's where the end of your spray is going to land. And I'll show you with the Phantom as well. So you see it's right around the pelvis area. So you need to understand how far down you need to pull at any given moment in game. So right here, now I'm a little lower than the knees, but at this range, you're never really going to be spraying. So, and then to end my warm up, I like to do hard bots, armor off. Well, I guess it doesn't matter if you're using the Vandal, but hard bots. And then I just stand still for the first run. All right, and then for the second run and the subsequent runs, I like to just do counter strafing, just little movements in between the bots. And you're not going to get a lot of bots here in your first few tries. It's very, very tough to get the pattern down. So definitely don't stress about doing this. And if it's too hard for you to do hard bots, you're welcome to do medium bots again and just work on your counter strafing while flicking. And you don't have to flick very fast either. You shouldn't be doing this every single time. You shouldn't be like this is counterproductive because it's not repeatable. You should be smoothly moving your crosshair.
Who's Tainer? Dude, I don't fucking know. He's fucking He's a little baby. I kind of want to punch him, knock him the fuck out of line.
Hey, thank
Tanner,
you
I
so
just
much.
jumped from 92 to 102 and bounced 180. I'd kiff it because of good RNG or what?
Good shit, Aziz. Hey, I'll teach you something for bounce 180 real quick.
Right here.
Thanks for the follow, Calvin, and the hydration. I needed that. My mouth was getting hella dry. So let's see. What was I talking about? Yeah. All right, Aziz. You want to keep your crosshair when you're doing bounce 180 always at this level. You always want to keep it here. You only want to move left and right with your crosshair. You don't want to be tracking them up and down like this and shooting them down here. You always just want to keep it level. That'll give you a bigger increase. Yeah, the peak level. You always want to just peak the top of where they go. All right, and that's my warm up. I also recommend if you're not like proficient with the Bulldog or the Spectre, you should really practice those as well.